Welcome to the Interdimensional Podcast, the show where we hijack radio waves from other universes. I'm Levi DeGroff, and today we're going to be listening into the Marvel Universe. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Daily Globe official podcast. I'm Eddie Brock, and today we have an exclusive interview with attorney Matthew Murdock of Nelson and Murdock. Matt is here today after closing a case that resulted in the conviction of Frank Castle. Now, as I understand, you usually work criminal defense cases. What made you take this case?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me. Growing up, I've always loved podcasts. It seems to be the only form of entertainment where everyone else is as in the dark as I am. Great to finally be on one. And yes, I prefer defense cases. In the past, I've even defended Mr. Castle. But when the DA asked for my help on this case, I found that recently his actions have been reprehensible, and the time is right that he face hard time.
What about his recent actions set them apart from his actions in the past? I mean, he's always killed people he's deemed as criminals. Why now?
Well, originally I thought he suffered an altered mental state. He felt as if he was constantly at war, killing criminals, including the ones that murdered his family. It was almost seen as self-defense for him. Recently, though, I've come to realize that his actions haven't changed, and he seems fully aware of his actions and their consequences. While I understand that some people are fans of Castle's actions, I don't believe one man should serve as judge, jury, and executioner. I think the justice system should be allowed to do its job.
What about when our justice system fails? When the same criminals keep coming back to the streets and they never leave them in the first place?
No system is perfect, but living in the great city of New York, we have the benefit of many heroes and vigilantes who work with law enforcement rather than against it, plenty of which have a strict moral code preventing them from taking a life.
What about someone like Wilson Fisk? Vigilantes like Daredevil have only been able to briefly lock him up or slow down his operations. I think most citizens would advocate Castle's methods when it comes to him.
Well, the thing about Fisk is that his permanent absence creates a power vacuum, which leads to chaos in the city. Daredevil has been instrumental in limiting the damage Fisk does while the authorities work on dismantling the criminal structure that let him become so powerful.
What about Spider-Man? Is he not one of the vigilantes you're defending? He locked up Wilson Fisk for quite some time, which did cause a massive gang war in the city.
Everyone makes mistakes. If he had asked, I'm sure Daredevil would have advised him against it.
He makes quite a lot of mistakes, doesn't he? At what point would you say you'd stop defending him?
It would have to be something really big. That wall crawler is one of the best heroes this city has.
Pardon me. I think I need some water.
This might be a bit of a weird question, Mr. Brock, but do you have any blood condition that you're aware of?
It's a little complicated, but I don't believe so. Why do you ask?
Off the record?
Sure.
Well, when you lose one sense, the others tend to get more, sensitive.
Sure, I've heard that.
Well, personally, my hearing and things are scarily good sometimes.
How does that clue you in on impossible blood conditions?
Have you ever been in a room so quiet you can hear your own blood pumping? For me, it's like that most of the time. The soundproofing here makes it a bit easier. Anyway, just listening, I couldn't help but notice that your blood sounds thicker. Not sure how else to describe it. It sounds like it's sludging through your body rather than flowing.
Wow, Samir. Yeah, I'll mention it to my doctor sometime.
You'll edit that out, right?
Of course. May I ask why?
Well, once I listen to one person's blood, next thing you know, there's a line across the city who want me to do a preliminary diagnosis.
Huh. No offense, but you seem to be more charitable. Thought you might use your gifts to help people if given a chance.
Everyone needs time to themselves. I think I do plenty of good for the city as is.
Circling back to Frank Castle, or as some call him, the Punisher, how does his vigilante career compare to those that you defend?
Castle's crusades have almost exclusively worked against law enforcement, and he has no way to be held accountable for his actions, until now.
There isn't a part of you that admires his efficiency. I mean, he never has to put away the same crook twice. Someone like Spider-Man has to face the same two-bit criminals countless times. I mean, Shocker, Stiltman.
Even if you believe in that kind of justice, not every criminal deserves to die, especially the less harmful ones. There's always the chance for rehabilitation. I mean, Black Cat, Silver Sable, to name a couple.
That's a fair point. Venom, for example, has become a hero in his own right. If Spider-Man had killed him, he wouldn't be able to save the lives that he does.
A hero? Venom isn't better than Castle. I'd argue he's worse. Not only has he not faced proper justice for the innocents he's killed in his villain days, but he still kills criminals. Even worse, he eats a lot of them. I mean, who does that? Not only do you take away someone's family member who maybe was on hard times and forced to do dumb things, but then you refuse them an open casket? Just horrible. It also makes it much harder for authorities to identify victims. I mean, why even stoop to that level?
Because they're tasty.
Jeez, pardon me. I mean, I've heard that venom needs a certain chemical found in the brain to survive.
Oh, that stuff is found in chocolate. There's no reason he needs to bite the heads off of petty criminals, or any criminal for that reason.
I'm not one to judge. Who are we to dictate alien biology?
Fair, but we can dictate who we want parading our streets.
I hate to disagree, but I'm on the side of the city that wants its filth off the streets.
I say we let the justice system do its job, assisted by the less than lethal protectors when needed.
The justice system fails often, and fails very hard. Daredevil and the like will let abusers continue to hurt people before breaking their moral codes.
Well, at least Daredevil doesn't eat people.
I'll eat you if you're not careful.
I hope you enjoyed our show today. Be sure to let us know what we should tune into next. Until tomorrow, this has been the Interdimensional Podcast.